for liberty. This is the Bill Mason Show.
Welcome to Bill Mason Show. Hey, Bill.
Hey, what's going on? It's Thursday. Let's
Another,
talk.
yeah, it's another day, and there's evil in this world, by the way, Bill.
Yeah, I've been noticing, and it seems to be people that are willing to accept evil as long as it's not, at their house, like the Democratic mayor today, who happened to mention that protests are fine and riots are an expression for them, but just not in her neighborhood.
Well, I heard somebody talk about the other day, which is very good. I'm trying to get those people on our show. It was with Cash Kelly and another person, and he was talking about, which is very eye-opening, is that he said that the Black Lives Matter movement is really it's meant for dark, satanic type feel. It's to make people go do things they're not supposed to be doing, like rioting and killing and
absolutely
and stuff like that. So it really kind of opened my eyes as far as that's concerned.
There were a couple of rappers that actually came out and said it started out okay, and all of a sudden they latched on and they threw in the LGBTQ and like all these other things that weren't about Black people doing better in this world, and it started to be more about this Marxism. And then once this one rapper, he looked it up, he was like, Marxism? See, I don't support that. Right. He said, I support Black people doing good, right. But he was like, we got more shot of doing good under Trump than we do under Black Lives Matter, because apparently their objective is to burn things down, and I guess they are creating new jobs through construction, apparently. Right. That's their agenda.
That's their agenda. Well, as you know, I mean, the Democratic Party is this an evil, satanic party that believes in abortion, that believes in socialist, communist control. They want China to be in control for some reason. I mean, you tell me what's going on with that, Bill.
Honestly, looking at the Democrats from my life perspective, they can only seem useful if things are in turmoil. They don't have a place in this world when things are doing well. So they need things to be wrong to make believe they have a solution to the wrong, and then never actually produce it. Mm-hmm. Like, they don't produce it through any of their programs. Like, many people have come out. A famous basketball player today got called an Uncle Tom. His name's Charles Barkley. He played for the Philadelphia 76ers. He's been a Republican for a really long time, and he was a great ball player. And he comes out and says, I don't know what's wrong with these NBA players. They're making millions of dollars, and they got there because some Republican bought a basketball team and decided to sign their paychecks. So he goes, I don't understand what the hell they're thinking, voting for a guy who's okay with a 90% effective tax rate. And I mean, it's like voting for someone who's going to kill you. Right. So he's like, I don't understand why Black people think that voting Democrat benefits them, because you look at all the places that are run by Democrats and everybody's doing terrible. Right. And Charles Barkley apparently got ostracized for saying that. And all those videos are, of course, scrubbed because I looked for them, but it happened. And this is the thing. There's so many Black people waking up, because we talked about it in a couple of shows earlier, how faithful and religious the community actually is. Right. And I think it's really only the youth that are latching on to this movement, and it's satanic, low-level ritualistic things that they're pulling off, and the other people in the community are like, yeah, we're not going to support that, because you can't just call something Black and then have it be this destructive force. Okay, you can't just say that it's good, because this is the world we live in, where they call peaceful protesters that are lighting things on fire and blowing up police cars. So I mean, we live in a world where they just label bad as good, and they label things that are good as bad. And I mean, this is it. Everything's upside down and in a spiral of spin, and you have to somehow struggle to find the truth. But I mean, as you watch the DNC, you see that each person that gets up and speaks is just bold-faced lies over and over again, repeated, and they want to create this oh, America's in turmoil and it's upside down and everything's wrong and this guy's to blame. And they do the same thing. They say, oh, well, if we were in power, obviously the coronavirus wouldn't have killed anyone. Or, you know, I mean, it's such BS that there's only a very small percent now that is believing it. And Trump's approval ratings, by the way, during the DNC convention just went up 4 points. He's at 51%.
51%, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's take a look at the most corrupt president of the United States ever, Barack Obama,
Absolutely.
delivering a message. Take a look.
All right.
I did hope, for the sake of our country, that Donald Trump might show some interest in taking the job seriously. That he might come to feel the weight of the office and discover some reverence for the democracy that had been placed in his care. But he never did. For close to 4 years now, he has shown no interest in putting in the work.
Yeah, no interest. He spied on the Trump campaign. The most corrupt president of the United States ever.
Yeah.
What do you think, Bill?
He's the only guy in history who can claim that there's systemic racism, him being a person of color who got elected 2 terms. Okay, so I guess under this, apparently this country's not good at racism because they managed to elect that guy twice.
Right.
Okay, and they literally watched him do everything that he did. And I mean, I could go on for a really long time what he did in just my local area, as far as, you know, the gun rights and the things that he constantly attacked. Meanwhile, he was under turmoil too. So there were riots in Ferguson. Like, no one is talking about the things that he let go.
Baltimore too.
In Baltimore, and there were also police shootings, and there were also things, but because he was president, it was like, we're not going to riot, we're not going to, you know, really lose our marbles over this. But as soon as, you know, Trump becomes president, it becomes, well, we have to do something, and the something is just destructive in nature. And Barack Obama, I mean, honestly, when you look at his list of accomplishments, he certainly wasn't touting the economy, because when he was president, it was, yeah, the jobs aren't coming back, people. You know what I mean? He was saying, he was literally okay with that.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. He wasn't an economy guy. And then as soon as Trump starts to build the economy, he goes, I did that.
Sure.
That was me. I did that. I mean, this guy talks out of both sides of his mouth. And I think that's probably, you know, the Democrat way from watching these guys operate. That's what they do. They're like a windsock at an airport. The wind starts blowing hard left. They go, oh my God, yeah, abortion. And then, you know, oh, women's rights, me too. It's all over the place. And if you think about it on the grand scheme of things that are important to human life, you know, you can argue over, you know, the abortion theory, and they want to take this to the level where babies can be breathing outside the womb and they're still viable for death. I mean, that's what Ralph Northam in Virginia said. I mean, this is the craziest.
Well, we keep them comfortable.
Yeah, we keep them comfortable until the decision is made.
Until you kill them, right?
That you can't hide the evil that is behind that. That there is no one on this planet that should be okay with that.
Right.
But yet they have lulled these people into sleep where they're like, yeah, it's a good option. Yeah, I want that option. I mean, what's next? My kid's 4, and I'm like, you know what? That was a bad decision. I want to, you know.
We're going to keep him comfortable for 4 years.
We'll keep him comfortable for 4 years, see what happens. I mean, he doesn't pan out, you know.
Sorry, it didn't work out. It's probably too much. Listen, I mean, back to Obama now. He said, the jobs won't come back. You can't renegotiate the treaties. You
Right.
can't do that. Trump did it all.
Right. Everything he said he was going to do.
Right.
And the tariff wars. I could probably find videos of this because I don't think they scrubbed this. But when Trump started the tariff war with China, the Democrats literally, they were like, the sky's falling. He's going to start a war. This is going to be the end of everything and all that stuff. You know what happened? They bucked up. They said, you know what? We need America's soybeans. We need their stuff. So like Trump was right that if to be on an equal playing field, zero tariffs are great. But if they're going to charge us tariffs, we're going to charge them. And Barack Obama did not have the cojones to ever bring that to the table. Right. Because he's not a businessman. Barack Obama is a guy who just rose through the ranks being who knows what, a community organizer. Is that what we would rather have as a president? I mean, you see what he did under his, legion of executive orders that went through, and everything was unconstitutional. And DACA was like, people talked about it like it was a great deal. The reason that Trump didn't renew it is because it's unconstitutional. Right. You can't not enforce laws. And he basically wrote that he wasn't going to enforce laws for a period of time and didn't let Congress pass anything. And Congress sucked it up too. They were complete crap during his administration, Republicans and Democrats. Right. I'm not just holding Democrats to the fire on this one. That whole time when he was in office, those 8 years, they were terrible as far as the American people winning anything, whether it was tax law, regulation, child credits, and it was terrible.
It was bad. So, I mean, I hate to move on to the I don't know if I consider her the worst of all, the Wicked Witch of the South.
Yeah, she's tough, man.
Well, let's go to her last night on the Democrat Network. We had to play her. I mean, I didn't want to, but we had.
No, you have to, because there's some nuggets in here we'll talk about.
All right, let's take a look.
After the last election, I said we owe Donald Trump an open mind and the chance to lead. I meant it. Every president deserves that. And Trump came in with so much set up for him. A strong economy, plans for managing crises, including a pandemic. Yes, we Democrats would have disagreed with him on many things, but if he had put his own interests and ego aside, seen the humanity in a child ripped from her parents at the border, or a protester calling for justice, or a family wiped out by natural disaster, that would have been a good thing for America and the world. I wish Donald Trump knew how to be a president, because America needs a president right now. Throughout this time of crisis, Americans keep going, checking on neighbors, showing up to jobs as first responders, hospitals, grocery stores, nursing homes. Yes, it still takes a village. And we need leaders equal to this moment of sacrifice and service.
Oh my gosh, you see my eyes roll?
Yeah, I could feel your eyes roll.
Can you feel it?
From Philadelphia. The thing that she says about, children being ripped from cages and or ripped from their parents and put in cages. I know we've talked about this before, but I can't stop because I don't know why the Democrats use that as a talking point when it occurred in 2014 and 2015. This is something that the cages were built by Barack Milhouse Obama.
That's right.
Who literally had to do something because the influx was happening. And listen, that I agree on. I'm not saying that was a great thing to do, but you can't take somebody who's committing a felony and being charged as a felon and bring kids into the jail cell with them. There's a processing thing that has to be done. And no one wants to address the fact that it's an illegal act that these people are taking place in, and child trafficking was rampant during that time.
Right.
And now, I hate this to be all, AJ, conspiracy guy, but guess what? They looked the other way on the child trafficking for a long time. And this is something that Trump's not willing to do. So for them to tout that the children are important and be the most late-term abortion supporters in history of the world, it just makes no sense to me.
It doesn't.
How can you say on one hand that that Trump's bad and children went in cages, and you are okay with terminating a life at 9 months and 1 day. It's so upside down that you almost can't take them seriously.
Yeah, I mean, you got Benghazi. When I look at her, you got 33,000 emails, hammered with a phone. I mean,
train wreck.
yeah, I mean, I'm thinking that if you just pull back her skin, you're gonna find a reptilian or something. There's something.
She can't be
evil.
human.
She can't be. There's no way.
She can't be human. And now here's the other thing that drives me bat crazy is that, you know, the Ghislaine Maxwell tapes are out and her testimony, and Bill Clinton is all over them, up, down, left, right. I mean, it is so much implicating on the Clinton Foundation too. So the Clinton Foundation is brought up, and that is something that if they want to look into Donald Trump's taxes, let's dig into the Clinton Foundation. I want to see some brass coyones from any state. I don't care. If the Southern District of New York can subpoena everybody's everything for whatever political purpose, why is the Clinton Foundation not being looked into? Why is Hunter Biden's taxes not being looked into? Why on Joe Biden's taxes, not to, tangent right now, they claimed $750,000 each. They made $21 million in book revenue that they put into a trust. And that's the thing that people don't realize. Rich people know how to stay rich. They know how to move money. They know how to not pay taxes on it. And this is the thing. This has been going on for a really long time. So to single out Donald Trump and to say, oh, he did something nefarious in his taxes, and the Southern District of New York can go after a private citizen's taxes because they knew that they couldn't get his taxes from when he was president, because guess what? He earned $1 a quarter because he donates $400,000 to a cause every time. So anyway, they go into his private life back in 2015. For some reason, 2015 is the year that they're really chomping at the bit for. Well, he was a private citizen during those periods. So if the Southern District of New York can subpoena someone's tax records without any other, charges being filed, it just sets a precedent for every other state to go after anyone for for political purposes, we'll say.
Right.
And like I say, I'm calling. If that's going to be the precedent, give me Hunter Biden. I want to see Hunter Biden's tax returns. I want to see how that idiot made $41 million in 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see that too so bad.
Yeah, I want to look into that.
Yes, I agree. Well, I mean, Hillary was talking about how, there's protesters and stuff like that. So the Democrats,
peaceful, right?
Yeah, the Democrats think they're all peaceful and kumbaya. Let's take a look at the peaceful protesters, okay?
Yeah.
Direct their force at peaceful protesters.
The vast majority of the protests have been peaceful.
And they're going and just pulling people off the street to make it seem like there are problems going on when all that's happening are peaceful protests.
On our peaceful protesters' ability to get out at night.
Most of these protests have been peaceful.
I applaud these protesters.
The majority of these protesters are peaceful. They have been peaceful for weeks.
It has continued, for the most part, peaceful.
It was peaceful. We had a number of peaceful protests.
So they're all peaceful.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if that's going to be the definition of peace, I can't wait to see what happens when they get their way and they defund the police and they remove all law enforcement. I mean,
it's going to be worse. It's going to get worse and worse till November. They're going to try to cause anarchy before the election.
Right. And I've also seen that there was, I think her name's Donna Brazil or something like that. She said, we have them on the ropes with these protests. We can't stop. We need to, be relentless and, all of these things. And one of the things that Hillary Clinton had said before is that if we don't elect Joe Biden, things are going to get worse. And it's like, I took that as a threat. Yeah. Because honestly, it looks like they released their shock troops on the American cities, and now they're threatening to make it worse if you don't elect Joe Biden. It's like, we're going to keep whipping you until you say when. I mean, this is crazy. This is a country that's almost unrecognizable. And if it really is 50% of the country, that's dangerous.
Very dangerous. There's some crazy people out there.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, so what we have now is this, I mean, it's like the scandals. Let's talk about that. I mean, they're saying there was no scandals under Obama. What do you say with that?
Well, I mean, honestly, it was genius. So the move that they pulled off was to surround themselves with every law enforcement agency that could have prosecuted or investigated them, full of their cronies. So what better way to say that you're scandal free when you got guys like Comey and Peter Strzok and Lisa Page in the FBI, and you got people in the CIA like John Brennan. Like, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure you're going to stay scandal free when all those guys are in your pocket. I mean, this is the most unbelievable claim. Like I said, the Democrats, they don't care. They claim they're for children and they're pro 9-month abortion. They claim they're scandal free, and they ran the biggest spying campaign in the history of this country.
Right.
Obamagate is real.
The biggest scandal in the history of mankind, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, this is unbelievable that they're trying to just skim coat over it like it was no big deal. But I mean, I really hope, and I say, we've been saying this too, anybody who watches us, and I know we got some new subscribers, and thank you for that.
Yes.
I mean, we've been talking about, Obamagate and the fact that the Durham report and these people, the evidence is there. Like, let's get to the prosecution part, man. I feel like 60 million people are going, come on, man, hit the ball.
Come on, man.
Yeah, come on, man.
All right, let's take a look at the Obama scandals, though, real quick, okay?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Not one single whisper of scandal.
Not one.
Not one single whisper.
The nation's capital was alive with talk of scandal today.
Questions for the White House this morning about whether it knew the truth about the Benghazi terror attack.
PolitiFact is out with its Lie of the Year award, and they named President Obama and his claim that, quote, if you like your health plan, you can keep it, as the winner.
He says he did not know the IRS was singling out conservative groups until the news broke.
Obama administration secretly airlifted $400 million in cash to Iran.
The political storm that erupted today over an undercover government operation gone very wrong.
The Obama administration's $500 million loan to Solyndra.
5 detainees were active Taliban fighters.
Ambassador Chris Stevens and 3 other Americans were killed.
Widespread manipulation of appointment wait times.
Not one single whisper of scandal.
No scandal.
And apparently that is like a badge of courage. That's not the line where you're supposed to be. That's like a badge of courage. Like, hey, we were Democrats and we weren't, investigated,
Right.
Amazingly.
Unbelievable.
It really is, and I think it sets the stage for I think a string of people that are I almost think that Joe Biden's cognitive decline is going to be his defense, because as I see the Obamagate evidence slowly start to go all the way up to the executive branch and the Oval Office, okay, Joe Biden, if he doesn't get elected and all these people start to go down, he's gonna be complete dementia. He's gonna be like, what day is it? Can I have the mashed potatoes? I mean, he'll be doing that in court, because otherwise he's going to spend life in prison. I mean, these guys, if you went through Title 18 of the U.S. Code, it's like playing hopscotch on broken laws. These guys could go away for some serious time for selling this country out. And I mean, it's something that we need people in place that are willing to prosecute these guys. And I think we have it. But I mean, I think some of these Democrats are starting to kind of get really worried. It's like desperation in their voices.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be nice to see them in orange jump sheets. I mean, it's going to look good behind bars. I can't wait till that happens.
Absolutely. Right. And I mean, some of these charges, like I said, if anybody wants to Google Title 18 and just start skimming through some of these charges that if Barack Obama gets implicated into, it's Guantanamo Bay. Mm-hmm. This is not like a soft, cushy federal prison. This is very high level abuse of the court system. Okay. He got these guys. I know he's going to have a lot of fall guys in front of him.
This is treason.
It really does go all the way to treason. It really does. You're undermining the peaceful transition of power. You lost.
Right.
Okay, you lost and you could not let it go, and neither can any of them. And you think about it, and I know we've talked about, oh, it's globalism, and you know that I think they all have skeletons in their closet, and I think they all have a lot more on the table than we even know. So I mean, a lot of them are looking at serious trouble, you know, and I think Biden getting elected gives them time to cover their tracks. Trump staying in office, especially being a lame duck president, if Trump gets reelected, God willing, because I want it more than anyone, he literally has nothing to lose. And then it's full bore, throttle down, let's go. That's how I'm looking for.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait. But speaking of scandal, let's take a look at Joe Biden in China, okay?
Yeah.
After the steel mills fell, it just all crumbled. I'm third generation. I've worked at a steel mill for a year and a half. And now the steel mill ain't even there.
This is just the way of the world. China is an economic rival to the United States. It does export, it does manufacture, and yes, it takes American jobs.
We want to see China rise. China is going to eat our lunch. Come on, man. I mean, they're not bad folks. I believe then, and I'm even more convinced now, that a rising China is an incredibly positive development. China has made remarkable strides.
ABC News investigation this morning into Joe Biden's son Hunter and questions about money he made from foreign business dealings while his father was vice president.
And did Joe Biden allow it? We're talking about millions of dollars in at least 2 countries.
Did you talk about China or your deal with China?
No.
A 12-hour flight over?
No, of course not.
That never came up?
No.
Less than 2 weeks after that trip, BHR Partners was launched, a private equity firm funded in part by Chinese banks.
He has come forward and said it was a mistake on his part to be on the board. My son's business dealings were not anything with everybody that he's talking about.
What's your understanding of what your son was doing for an extraordinary amount of money?
I don't know what he was doing. I know he was on the board.
Hunter Biden holds an equity stake in a company that's taken over $1.5 billion in loans from the Chinese government. This is obviously an issue.
What they said is China would prefer Joe Biden.
China and Iran.
China and Iran want to see Donald Trump's defeat, and they're looking for ways to make that happen.
China's a great nation, and we should hope for the continued expansion. Growth in China is overwhelmingly in our interest, and there's much more to come.
And now the steel mill ain't even there.
That's it. I mean, Joe Biden wants all the American jobs to go to China.
Of course. I mean, on the small scale, I think we all have a relationship with China because of the things that they've done under his administration. He made sure that most of the low-level pharmaceuticals were moved to China. It was his legislation, and Barack Obama, they made sure that China would be the main producer of, personal protection equipment. I mean, honestly, like, they put us over the barrel where we all have to deal with China on one way or another. You don't even realize how many things that China has touched at this point. So the withdrawal from China is what Trump started. I mean, honestly, the coronavirus is like a blessing in disguise. I mean,
you mean the Chinese virus?
The Chinese virus. I'm sorry. Yes, the China virus is a blessing in disguise. Not because we had, I think we're over 160,000 dead. That's not what I'm talking about. But it rang the bell to where we can no longer rely on a country that is not necessarily our friend and is definitely, communist, that we cannot let them control our medicine, our, things that are everyday use for Americans. Like, that is something that's very dangerous. Joe Biden can smile and shake hands all he wants. There's no way that should happen. There should always be, for safety's sake, some production in the United States, even if it costs more. Honestly, like, if I had to suck it up and buy antibiotics for 50% more in a pinch, that would be great. But the reality is that some of those antibiotics are not made in the United States anywhere, and we're screwed. So we're already over the barrel because of what they've done. And the
ventilators, the masks, all that stuff is made in China.
All of it, and we put ourselves in that. Yeah, well, it was. And that's the other thing that Trump is doing. Trump is pulling the rug out from under these guys. I mean, tariffing their stuff that comes into this country, even though, we all use it and we all may pay slightly higher, it in the end is going to get us on a level playing field globally, where now we can play the game with them. They are honestly the producer of most of the world's single-use stuff. I'll call it. They are number one in plastic forks and straws and and plastic bottles and PPE and all the things that we throw away daily that wraps our stuff. It comes from there. And honestly, it ends up in the ocean. It ends up on the street. Everything you see, I guarantee you pick up a bottle or whatever, it's made in China. I'm telling you, this is the thing that is masked too. When the Bidens went over and made a deal with quote unquote China, it's not like you're dealing with a regular Chinese businessman. It's the government. The government is the banking industry, is the government. The production, the steel, the coal, everything is the government. So you can't even say it's a business deal, because it's a person dealing on behalf of the United States with the foreign government and profiting off of it. And this is the stuff that we all just sat back and watched, and we were like, oh, it seems legit. Yeah, yeah, it's above board. No. Absolutely not. These Bidens have to go down, man. Like I said, my prediction, I got a couple predictions. I know we're getting towards the end of the show. 1, California goes red. 2, Hunter Biden disappears somewhere. 3, Joe Biden loses and goes completely senile to defend himself.
Yeah, I agree. But speaking of senile, let's take a look at Joe Biden's husband, okay?
Yeah.
Great job. Oh, lovely. How are you? Hey, everyone. I'm Joe Biden's husband. As you heard tonight, excuse me, you can see why she's the love of my life.
There we go. Joe Biden's husband. Wow. Great.
The behind the scenes people that talk about handling Joe Biden, where he has to have people that make sure he goes in the right door, like that he gets in the right car, that, when he uses the restroom, he doesn't go into the ladies' room. I mean, this is what the Democrats are willing to put in the Oval Office. That guy. They're willing to, the guy who you got to say, no, Joe, the other one, the one without the lady with the skirt on it. You know what I mean? Like, they have to watch him do everything. Right. I mean, you can't make this up.
Well, let's talk about something kind of weird. Kamala Harris was on doing her speech, and something happened weird. Let's take a look, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're watching this Kamala Harris live. And I don't know if anybody else noticed, but all these people on Zoom. So this lady, it's also this lady. And this lady, it's also this lady. Oh wait, and this lady, it's also this lady. So who are these people?
Who are those people? Are they all fake?
Seriously, I mean, they could have all been like backstage somewhere. I mean, I think it was 6 rows up, 5 rows across. So they couldn't get 30 different Zoom people to applaud Kamala Harris. If that was a Trump rally, they would have crashed the servers.
Oh yeah, I mean they couldn't. I mean, think about it. They couldn't get 30 people, the same 32 people, not 2 people, one person over here and one person over there, the same person to applaud. It's crazy.
It's terrible, and it just goes to show you this. And I watched it, and I didn't want to, but it was like I had to at least see what the other people are looking at. You had to see evil. I had to see it for myself, and it's a show. They don't have anything to offer their constituents. So like the people that vote for them, they don't have anything other than dismantling what's in existence. So like the Green New Deal, I view that as a dismantling of what's in existence. So when you talk about that, and you talk about the trillions that it would take to tear down and rebuild, that's like an idea. I mean, honestly, that's a non-starter for me. So there are some Democrats who are on board with that, but other than that, what they have is, we're not Trump.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's all they got.
Yeah, we got $4 trillion in taxes that would be in the first 100 days, like initiated. $4 trillion on the American taxpayers over the course of that. I mean, it would break us, and also make the effective tax rate between 70 and 90%. Like, I can't even imagine anyone raising their hand going, "Yeah, I'll take that."
No, yeah, no one would. Wow. Well. There's no plan for them, so we'll see what happens. Tonight is the Biden's acceptance speeches. We're going to take a look at that tomorrow. So,
what a surprise! He's gonna accept the nomination.
Yes. Well, let's go on to Trump on Q yesterday. Of course, I don't know if we were even supposed to say Q anymore.
Yeah, I think that letter is actually going to be deleted from the alphabet.
Yes. So Here's Trump on Q yesterday. Take a look.
Is this belief that you are secretly saving the world from this satanic cult of pedophiles and cannibals? Does that sound like something you are behind?
Well, I haven't heard that, but is that supposed to be a bad thing or a good thing? I mean, if I can help save the world from problems, I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to put myself out there. And we are, actually. We're saving the world from a radical left philosophy that will destroy this country. And when this country is gone, the rest of the world would follow. The rest of the world would follow.
There we go. I mean, if that reporter was back in the 1980s, should have been kicked out and fired.
Absolutely. And not only the people she represented would have fired her.
Oh yeah.
That's how far journalism has fallen, so far that they tell these people, just get on TV, say something sensational and get on TV. It doesn't matter.
Well, what kind of question was that? I mean, of course he's going to be against that. Who wouldn't?
It reminded me of I think it was like a few days ago, where this one reporter was like, so what are you going to say to people when they bring up your lying and all this other stuff? And he was like, next. Right. I mean, like, honestly, like, who asks a president of the United States that? If they ask like Barack Obama that, a guy who lied from day one to like the very last day of his presidency, literally the last Oval Office meeting that man had was discussing the spying on the incoming new president.
Right.
I mean, there was never been a more dishonest, lying person in office. And I mean, this is where we are. We're at the place where I think it's frustrating for the voters like me, who are like, okay, we know who the guilty are. We know that the evidence is there, and let's go. Let's do this. Let's arrest them. Let's put them away and get back to business. Get justice served, law and order gets back on the streets, and we all go back to work, and we can go to baseball games and have a beer. I mean, let's do this. Like, what's holding us back is this nonsensical Democrat spin that just keeps going round and round with one look over here, look over here, look over here. I mean, there's no substance to what they talk about. It's terrible.
It's terrible. I mean, ever since Trump got elected, CNN constant badgering, 24-hour badgering of Trump. Nothing positive to say at all. So go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, even because on the CNN note. So as I'm watching the DNC convention, CNN is essentially running, I guess, Biden commercials produced by like them. So it's like now you have a news network who's just openly pro-presidential candidate. Now people tout Fox News and they say, oh, well, of course we're like that because Fox News is like that. But Fox News has reporters that rip into Trump Honestly, I watch these guys. They're not 100% pro-Trump network or whatever. And that's the thing about CNN. They have literally gave up all chances of hiding the fact that they are just the Democrat speaking voice. Like, that's what they are. That's what they've become.
They have become that, yes.
It's terrible.
Well, let's take a look at something positive today. So it looks like Old Forge, PA. Trump was there.
Not too far.
Yeah, a lot of people there. Let's take a look.
Every time.
Look at that. I mean, tons of people there.
Mm-hmm. And that's what the Democrats don't do. The Democrats call places like that a flyover. Okay. Oh, they're flyover state people. But what they don't realize is when Trump gets that magnitude of small town people together, you know what they do? They get on the phone to their daughter and their son and everybody. I can't believe it. I just saw President Trump and so on and so on and so on. And it gets legs. And then those people feel like, wow, he really gives a crap about, you know, us, where they literally for 8 years watched Barack Obama and his cronies treat all of those states like flyover country. Like, we go from New York and DC to California and back. Like, we don't give a rat's about anybody in between.
No, they don't. And that's wonderful to see. I mean, it really moved me to see all those people there.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. And the funny part about the Democratic Party is when they go to like their big cities and they have a quote unquote rally or whatever, even though they announce it and they're like, oh, the social distancing, everybody be whatever, they get such small turnouts. Mm-hmm. They really are not the powerhouse that they say they are. Because people don't turn up for their events. You look at like Joe Biden events, there's like 8 people there, and most of them are like news people. Right. And I mean, no one really cares about what they're doing. And I think maybe this whole thing about not having a live convention and stuff, I mean, it actually saved them in one way, because you would have saw dismal numbers of people that turned out. And I hate that the RNC, I think they're going, you might know more about this. Are they going outdoor or it's canceled in Jacksonville?
It's canceled in Jacksonville. Supposedly it's going to be in North Carolina, some of it. And then Trump is going to have the speech in the garden near the White House.
Okay. So, I mean, theoretically then, I shouldn't have said that. They're both going to be on an even, like, whatever. But let me tell you, if Trump did decide to have it in Jacksonville outdoors, he would have sold out that place, man. It was not even an issue, because whenever he goes anywhere, he has the support. And like I said, he can even fly. What I saw that blew my mind was when he went to New Jersey. That is a blue, dyed-in-the-wool state. When I lived in New Jersey for years, I know I was throwing away my Republican vote every year, but I did it anyway. And when I saw that Trump rally in New Jersey, and I saw 100,000 people on the ground, and people still waiting to get into that little town of Wildwood, that made my heart swell, because now I know that this Democrat wave that they talk about is BS. They have nothing.
They don't have anything. Well, I appreciate it watching the show tonight. That's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Do you have any last words, even though you've been talking about?
I don't know. The only thing, mail-in ballots, absentee ballots, know the difference. Absentee ballot is going to your address that you last voted from and you are registered. Okay. So an absentee ballot ballot is coming directly to you. This basically drop from an airplane mail drop that the Democrats want to do is complete nonsense. So if your state has anything left in the tank and you can make a difference, call your representative and tell him you want absentee ballot over this just draft drop mail-in ballot, because there's a huge difference in it.
There is. I agree, there is a big difference. So watch that, make sure it doesn't happen. And thanks for watching, and you have a good night.
Good night, everyone.